It's coming straight from my heart. Ooh, yeah. My love. Ooh, my love. Knowing that we'll never part.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Tristan Barracks here, the digital storyteller, and this is another episode of the Sugar Dumplin Production Podcast with your host, me, Tristan Barracks. I am excited about today's show because today's show is all about the rhythm, the vibes, the energy that comes from music, but not just any music. Totally freshly minted, created music and produced music by none other than Adrian Bent, who is our composer, the composer of Sugar Dumplin, our short film with starring Oliver Samuels and Chantel Riley. And the thing that's so beautiful about having composed original scoring and work is that you have the opportunity to work with somebody who is a professional, consummate professional, but also is going to bring another level of their DNA and their perspective to elevate the project. So I am so excited to welcome to the show Adrian Bent, the great, the honorable, the Jamaican Adrian Bentakos. Man, I'm so glad to have you here. How are you doing, my friend?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. That was one hell of an intro, by the way.
Well, you know, I try. I mean, I didn't even tell the people all the wicked things. Oh, you're drubbing for Drake, and you go around the world and you travel and you produce for film and television and you're doing all the things.
Used to.
It's all good. I mean, I think, you know, where I would love to start, you know, this conversation is, can we talk a little bit about, you know, where you found your love for music and then how that has kind of translated into, you know, scoring and composing and why you're so interested in this side of the industry, which is, you know, it's competitive, but it's also a different cadence, pardon the pun, than just being a traveling and musician by hire. If you don't mind sharing just a little bit about your story so the people know who you are.
Yeah, started playing drums in church when I was 3 years old. Most people that know me, which isn't a lot actually, but most people that know me know that I started in church when I was 3, like actually playing physical drums, like not just around. If I was to listen to my younger self, I was probably extremely garbage, but my parents said I had like impeccable rhythm from back then. So yeah, I just started with that, and I have three older sisters. But one of my older sisters, they put her in music. My younger sister, they put in music, and with me, they're like, that's a boy child. He'll just figure it out. And for me, it was just always just music. How that continued to grow throughout my life was Miss Watson, essentially in high school.
Miss Watson.
Yeah, that was my music teacher. Even before we get there, though, for like elementary, you know, when you have talent shows and stuff like that,
Yep.
I'd be the kid like drumsticks and just playing and just having fun with it, not really thinking anything of it. And then obviously fast forward to high school. I remember there was a project that Miss Watson gave us. And I think the class had like a week or two to finish this one particular project. And I finished it that class. And to me, it just made like seeing the trains and seeing the mountain tops and all that stuff. I think it was a scene from Lord of the Rings, actually. And
Really?
I had no clue. I'm pretty sure if I was to listen to it now, I'd be like, this is hot, steaming garbage juice. But just listening to it or doing it, I finished it. Seeing the trains, I added horns, I did strings, I did blah, blah, blah. And then she looked at me and said, Adrian, you know this is not normal. In my head, I was like, well, it makes sense. You see the butterflies, you want to add flutes because it reminds me of wind and blah, blah, blah. That's when she looked at me and was just like, yeah, your interpretation of music is just different. So yeah, I think I got a 90 on the project. I don't know why she took the extra 10% off. I probably forgot to put my name on it or something like that. Yeah.
No, that's so interesting. I think one of the things that I can relate to is this idea, Adrian, where it's like you have a gift, and it just comes so natural that it doesn't seem like it's anything. Like it just seems like this is just your area of expertise, you know, that just comes
At
natural, you know. Sorry, say it
this
again.
point, it's just like breathing at this point.
Yeah, yeah. And so tell me a little bit about like when I reached out to you about this, actually we met up last year around this time, maybe a 1 or 2 months off. And
Yeah.
I was sharing with you the vision of Sugar Dumplin. What was like what was your perspective on that? Like what was your take on taking on a project like this?
Um, to be honest, I'm hungry, especially when it comes to film. Being around the people that I've been around, being on tour with certain artists, Daniel Caesar, Drake, Victoria Monet, like major A-list artists. One thing that always gets like doesn't really ever get spoken about is the work ethic that they put in, and I'm
Hmm.
talking about like, Drake doing hour and a half shows, 90-minute, 2 hour shows, whatever not, and then going to the studio after to continue to make music. Like that work ethic um, doesn't get spoken about a lot. Obviously, you see the glamorous life, the flying, the this, the house, the cars, blah
Yeah.
blah blah. But they actually put in the work, and I'm like,
Mm.
in order to get anywhere, you need the right team, you need the right people, and you need to have everybody with that same mindset.
Hmm.
So, in you speaking about the project, in you talking to me and explaining exactly your vision for it, I immediately saw the passion that you had for it, and I was like, I gotta align myself with that, um, because I'm just as hungry and just as passionate. Anything I do, I want it to be top tier. Anything I do, I want to make sure that I'm with the right people, just elevating, getting better. You know, that was my thought process on when you were explaining everything to me.
Hmm.
So even before, remember, I looked at you and I was like, yeah, yeah, whatever you need, I got you. No, 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 I really meant that. Like just from the want to be around people that are passionate about the arts, the creation process, because that's kind of a lost thing nowadays. We don't need to get into it, but yeah, it's kind of.
No, I love what you're saying there. I think, you know, and just to give some context for the listeners who don't know our story and don't know necessarily our particular backgrounds, but we met. Adrian and I met because both of our families went to a larger church about 10, 15 years ago, and we both attended. And I just distinctly remember seeing this tall, you know, big lip, light skinned brother, bald head, coming with the collarless shirts, church, the cowboy neckties, and coming in. But then you went behind the drum kit, and I just remember hearing the doo-doo-doo-doo, and like these super, like, it was like you had this style of drumming that was so full of energy, but then at the same time it was very intricate. Like it was like you were one of these people that like you want to like take everybody by the neck and be like, this is how I play, and this is the energy I want you to feel every single time I play. Because there was no moment where you could breathe when Adrian was playing drums, and it's still to this day in terms of the way that you look at music. But can you break that down? Like, what goes through your mind when you're like thinking about music and your approach to music and your phrasing and your language around that?
Good question. To be honest, I'm not thinking, which is why I'm very reactive. I also play basketball. I always have to mention that because I'm incredible at basketball, and and like competitiveness that comes with that, and like grab people by the throat. So I grew up in Malvern. I played basketball in Malvern. You kind of had to be that way, obviously within a healthy environment. Obviously,
Mhm.
so when it comes, I feel the same way. I feel I'm very competitive, understated because I'm not gonna go out there and be like I'm the best. I'm this because we all know Larnell lives. He's incredible. He is the
Can
greatest
you can
drummer on the
you
face.
can you take a moment and like actually explain who Larnell Lewis is to people? Because many people may not understand who Larnell is and his importance to the culture.
Yeah, the culture, the music culture, not just Canada. No, no, this is like worldwide. But essentially, my first interaction with Larnell, because obviously you hear through the grapevine, you see him walk in,
Hmm.
just kind of like the legend. Oh my God, that's Larnell. Like that's literally what I was hearing, and I remember asking him something crazy, like, "Can you do doubles or something?" And my guy went up in a leather jacket and started ripping the drum. That was like my first interaction with Larnell. This was at the days, and I believe it was at Malton Church of God.
Yes. Big up, Malton. Hold on. Go ahead.
Oh my God. Yeah, but that was one of the first times I've seen him play, and he was just so humble with it, so chill with it. Any information that he had in his mind, and I asked him, he would just be so willing to knowledge onto me. And who Larnell is, he, as much as he's a monster and incredible at his craft, and that is just music, not even just drums. He's a way more beautiful human being. That also in our entertainment business, that's something hard to come by. Because people are normally not nice human beings. There's other words, choice words for that, but I'm not going to get into that. But Larnell is actually one of the sweetest, has one of the greatest hearts. And yeah, I just love that man, yo. I don't have any mentors. I don't look up to anybody, and we're kind of the same height. But if from a musical standpoint, if that's someone to look towards, as that's the model of how to do things from a music standpoint, yeah, that's the golden standard right there.
That's good. And so when you know, going back to the original thought, you know, you look at a person like Larnell and how, you know, how gifted he is, and you're coming from the same city, the same sort of church circles as he is, and you're finding your voice and your phrasing, and you're saying to yourself, okay, well, you know, I come from the East End, Malvern, I play ball, I play aggressive ball, and that's how I'm going to, and I live life sort of living it forward, and that's what I'm going to bring into my music. Is that sort of your thought process?
Essentially, yeah. As I said, I don't really think about it, but I am a ball of energy. Like I'm always hyper, always bouncing off the wall. I was the kid riding my bike every day, everywhere. So when it comes to drums, I remember Otis being beside me and saying, like, when you play, like, literally, there's like a force of energy around you. And that's just how I've always been. That's always how I approached it. Now, mind you, yes, I do play drums at a decent level, but for me, when I'm thinking music, it's more so always thinking about the things that are around me. So I'm always listening to what the singer's doing, because obviously in church you have to pay attention, because if not, then it might go somewhere else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's help playing other instruments. I play bass, I play a little bit of keys. It also opens up your mind. So when I'm playing, drums is so natural to me. I'm more so listening to what they're doing and feeding off of them. That's more so focused on what I'm playing.
That's dope. I'm fascinated by that, because I can understand what you're saying. I was on a choir, actually. The youth choir that I was on, Larnell was the drummer for, and I remember going to practices and saying, like, listen, I've heard some drummers and I've heard some musicians, and I'm not a musician, but he's different. Right? Yeah. But also I also recognized, like, as a singer, you know, it's a different instrument, it's your voice, but you're still having to be aware of what the organist is doing, you know, what the lead vocalist is doing, what the rhythm section is doing, and also understanding, like, where they're going. That's the thing that I really love, is like about music, is that it's so, like, when you get into that vibe of like intelligence, where you can see where somebody's going, and you can be like, oh yeah, you're going there, so I'm gonna sing here because I know that you're gonna go there. That's gonna match that, and then I'm gonna riff here with the bass, and it's just this beautiful confluence of like just magic and chemistry, and I think even with, you know, going to the soundtrack, I felt like you did that. You know, there was like, just to give context, when you are sitting down as a filmmaker, and when I say you, I mean myself, I think about music a lot, because music is my inspiration for writing anything and creating. I always start from like a playlist and listening to music. And one of the things that I really wanted for Sugar Dumpling is I wanted that ska lovers rock that really roots reggae vibe. And I remember just speaking to you and kind of giving you a playlist and talking to you and being like, I want to give you the sandbox to figure things out and to try things. And then the dude, guys, everybody, he came back with 10 tracks. And I'm like, what? In like a week and a half? I'm like, what? Like, how did that, what was that process? Where did you start? How did that come out of you so fast like that?
Yo, essentially, to be honest, one thing when it comes to composing that I personally like, from a director working hand in hand with a director who's dope, as good as yourself, you always give me a direction. And once I have a direction, because music is so natural to me, and I really do believe it's like one of my God-given gifts. Because if you actually speak to me, you'd be like, I can barely even spell my name correctly. How the hell is he able to do music? Because you pointed me in that direction, I was able to understand, and being Jamaican, coming from the background that we come from, with the reggae, understanding the elements of a one drop, understanding the elements of ska, because we literally were born and raised in that. Coupled with, I remember you telling me, I just wanted to feel like you're on the beach with a summer breeze and it's just like a warm hug. And like, it immediately brought me back to being on Jamaica with a red stripe in the back. I don't really drink beer no more. I'm trying to watch these and but it just brought me right back to that. And I was like, let me come up with some concepts. Let me come up. I just sat by the piano and just created certain melody lines, and certain things. And obviously you heard the rough sketch, and as time went on, I just continued to build upon it, expound upon the original ideas. And then there was one moment, I remember watching, I know, no correlation, The Wild Robot. Chris Bowers is one of my favorite composers.
Now, yes.
Incredible. But he said there was one moment where he was thinking about specifically his daughter and the interaction between him and his daughter, as a parent. And having that moment unlocked that main melody line that you hear in The Wild Robot. Kind of what I had to tap into to get to that melody line for Ebony's theme, which really became the theme overall, because I put in her shoes, even though I'm a dude. But I put myself in her shoes with Jamaican parents, with Caribbean parents, understanding that, and not to give away the movie, but seeing certain elements and seeing certain situations that she's in, I put myself in it, and it unlocked different melodies, different things. So as a composer, that's one thing that doesn't get spoken about a lot. The fact that you actually have to tap in to some of these emotions. And I'm pretty stoic. I'm pretty dead in, really emote a lot. But when it comes to music, that's one of the few things that make me feel. I'm not going to cry. I'm not going to do any, like, I've had people die around me and all that stuff. And man, this got really morbid. But I will never ever emote like that. The only thing that makes me feel like that is music.
And that's beautiful, because like it's you feel that within the context of the whole every single song. Like it was so incredible, because when we got the first sort of iterations of what you created and what you scored for the film, Adrian, one of the things that stood out to us the most was that it brought the whole film to life. Not to say that the film there wasn't something there, but it felt, the best way I could describe it is when the music was added, your music was added to our scenes, it just felt inevitable. It felt like it was supposed to be that way. And it's funny because John Williams, obviously you know who John Williams is, like GOAT, one of the GOATs in the composing worlds, done Star Wars, done Indiana Jones, done pretty much everything for Spielberg. By the way, he also did Home Alone. Side note, just want to tell you that. Yeah. John Williams, he actually said the same thing about when he was doing the Indiana Jones score, and composing that. He had a couple of different ideas. He presented it to Spielberg, and Spielberg's like, use both. I like both. Yeah. Why do you have to pick? And he was like, the hardest thing about it is to put together the right notes or the right chords and keys, so that it feels like it was supposed to happen that way. You know what I mean? Rather than, oh, that's an interesting turn. It's like, oh no, this feels exactly where I'm feeling, what I'm feeling. And I can honestly say, Adrian, like you did that. You did that, especially with the Ebony theme. Once we get into the end, it's just so, it just pulls out your gut. You know what I mean? And tell me about, like, so did you watch the film first? Did you watch it while you were playing? Like, what was your process like when you were playing the piano or figuring out what to do in different scenes?
So a lot of times I'll watch it through a couple times. Films, if they're longer, I will sit down there and just watch it without music. And as you said, put me in the sandbox and allow me to create. You did a great job of just allowing me to be me, and put me in a box and be like, this is what it has to be. You know what I mean? And obviously, as a composer, I'm trying to bring your vision to light. But I'll watch it a couple times through. As I'm watching it, I'll get certain ideas and be like, oh, this would be cool here, or how would this feel? And sometimes I'll just play along, but a lot of times I will watch it a couple times through, listen to the dialect, watch their facial expressions, watch what type of emotion. Sometimes I'll ask you what type of emotion. Like if you notice, when we had that last session, I was asking, why would you do this, or why would you do that? Just so I understand on a deeper level of why you shot it the way you shot it. So then musically, I can help build that story. So a lot of times I'll think from that perspective, and then I'll just sketch it out on piano, depending on what key. Obviously, I don't use transpose. A lot of times I like playing in the keys I'm uncomfortable in because it'll bring me to certain chords that I'm just not used to.
Oh, wow.
And I understand. So I know. So I'll figure it out, and then I'll just go from there. And I always start with piano, melodic things. Bass always comes second, to be honest, because I never down low. It's always up here, and I'm normally singing or doing melody lines on the bass note, and that's just how my workflow happens. And then drums is always last because that is the easiest thing for me personally. And to be honest, I love strings. I want to get to the point of I'm able to chart out for orchestras and have them play my stuff. But for right now, it's VSTs, and that's a good way to start. I've really gotten good at the VSTs where the common human ear, who we're trying to cater to, doesn't really know. They just hear and they're like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. That's so it's normally piano, bass, melodies, and then strings, additional things here and there. If we need a vocalist, I'll always get a vocalist. Because I have a plethora of vocalists that I know that can easily, do what they need to do. And then drums. And that's how my workflow continues.
That's amazing. Let's talk a little bit about the Sweet Sugar Dumplin song. What was that session like? How was it like working with the singer who is featured on the song is Kenneth Blake, and he is a really, really talented brother that we've both known for a long time. And so what was that process like to pull out or to collaborate with an artist for essentially the premier signature song for this film?
Oh, well, thank you. We made that connect. As you said, we've always known each other for a while. And he just so happened to be in town for those 2 weeks. And I was like, yo, are you down for a studio session? He's just like, yeah, just let me know. And we got in the studio. He had some things jotted down, some rough ideas. And one thing about both of us, I have a healthy amount of ego, but it's not to the point where it cripples. Some people can walk in the room and it's crippling.
Yeah.
So me and Kenny, we're kind of like-minded like that. So he would sing this out to me. I'd be like, nah, that's not it. How about this? And he'd be like, nah, how do you feel about this? And then we just went back and forth. And I actually have the video session of when he he had that one aha moment of the chorus, and he tried to venture off, and I stopped him. I was like, nope, nope, nope. I was like, that's the ear candy that we need. That right there, that's what it is. And it was just a blessing. Created the track in a couple of days yet again. I do not want the genre. I am not a reggae producer, but I've been around reggae. I am half Jamaican, half Trini, but more Jamaican. I spent a lot of Jamaica. Um, so yeah, I didn't want to disrespect the genre. Made sure I sent it out to real Jamaicans, real Jamaican producers, people that know the genre very very well, and I just wanted to make sure I was doing it, not doing it a disservice,
Yeah.
and came in with a rough, had Kenny sing the thing in literally a couple hours, finished it, and I was like, yeah, we have something here with this one.
It
Yeah.
was, I mean, just to kind of give the people a context, like I think this was the hardest song to kind of like get down because we wanted a song to open the film. And we had a really talented partner who was doing our music supervising and syncing, Michelle, who has been on a previous episode of the podcast. And the biggest challenge is just budget. Like if you want to get like a Sugar Mina or a Bob Marley track or something like that, like that's going to be thousands, tens of thousands of dollars. Yeah, to even get like a little snidbit of it. And so the reality is that we couldn't afford that sort of pricing, and it made sense for us to say, okay, well, in the spirit of what those songs were and what they felt like, could we reproduce something that was original but still had the same heart vibe and felt like it was produced within that era or from those types of artists? And I think you nailed it on the head. I think I, I just remember hearing Kenny's voice, because Kenny I've known for years, over 20 years, and he's always been an incredible talent to me. And he's always had an old soul in the sense of he loves his reggae, he loves his ska, he loves his roots, love his rock. And his voice just worked with the track.
Yeah.
It just worked.
No, by the way, no auto tune, no real processing. Just literally slapped a 1-2 compressor on it and some reverb, and I'm like, yo, this is it. This guy, he's just that old school talent. Doesn't really rely on technology. Just a God given ability and talent. Because he also plays everything: drums, bass,
Yeah.
a little bit of. Then hearing him sing, I'm just like, oh, okay, cool. He just has everything. All
It
right.
was it was magic. It was magic. It was is fantastic. I'm so excited for everybody to hear it once we release it. I have a couple other questions and then we can wrap up. But I want to ask you, what do you want people to take away from not just the film, but specifically the work that you've done on the film as it pertains to the music? Like, what do you want people to feel or think or believe when it comes to the work that you've contributed to Sugar Dumpling?
That's such a good question. To be honest, believe in yourself more than anybody else, like almost on some Kanye type delusion, because when you're really good at something and you hear, oh my gosh, you're a child prodigy, you're incredible, you kind of not get lost in the sauce, but it's more so for me personally, hearing that kind of made me dull inside because I was just like, I've always wanted more. And because of that, people tend to put you straight up in a box. So
Mm-hmm.
when people, the only thing is, oh, you play drums. Oh, you play drums for Drake. Oh, you play drums for Daniel Caesar. My main thing when it comes to this film, the music, the single, my affiliation with this film, just believe in yourself and understand that whatever you want to be, you really can be that. Because I remember early, I this is a random story, being in the dressing room after a big hip hop show. I'm talking about 23,000 people performing, had a drum solo, killed it. Best believe I was in that venue showering with my speaker on, playing Pocahontas, Colors of the Wind, screaming. My How high does a sycamore grow? And everyone, like, I had like 5, 6, 7 people, obviously tour family, out back looking at me like, you're a 6'4" black dude. Why? What are you doing? And I had to explain to them, not even had to. I just looked at them and I was like, this is what I love. This is the music that I want to create. This is how I want people to feel whenever they hear my music.
Mm.
They all laughed at me. They're like, you're insane. Like, and I'm not even sure it was a laugh of we don't believe in you. It was just more so a laugh of you're not all there. And
No, I get it. I totally get it. You know, Adrian, I really get that because there's something to be said about knowing who you are and knowing what you have inside of you and not being pigeonholed to be like, okay, you're that guy, you're the hip hop drummer, or you're this. No, there's many folds to me. There's parts
yeah,
that people don't see yet. You know, even with Sugar Dumplin and being the director and writer of this, it's like, cool, I did this, but it doesn't mean I'm just going to do Jamaican stuff or I'm just going to do black stuff. It's like I want to be able to have the opportunity to do action or sci-fi or maybe horror or suspense, right? You know?
yeah. And
Yeah.
that was my main thing. I just want people to know that whatever you put your mind to, as long as you put in the hard work smart, not hard. I lied. Work smart and hard.
Hmm.
Make sure you have the right people around you, right team. And we get caught up on social media nowadays with, oh, this person is doing this. Run your race. It can happen tomorrow. It can happen 10 days from now. It can happen 10 months from now. But believe in yourself, stick with it, and understand. Because even years ago, I remember someone saying, "Wouldn't you want to be like, now that you're getting older, you'd want to like do drum teching or do something with drums?" And I'm like, "No, I want to do film. I want to do commercials. I want to do TV. I want to do video games. I want to do, and not even because it's lucrative. It's literally my passion and what I want to do."
Hmm.
Um, so, as you said, I've always known who I am. I've always known what I wanted to do. Some people don't have that luxury, but thank God I do. And yeah, I just want people walking away from the film being like, wow, that was an incredible experience. I can be whatever I want to be and forget what the naysayers are saying.
Hmm.
So yeah.
No, that's dope. That's really inspiring. And I'm, when I tell you I'm super proud of you, I'm super happy for you because it's just, I love being able to facilitate greatness, right? And I think
Yeah.
that you are great at what you do. And like Netanya and myself, we don't look at us as the center of the world in terms of Sugar Dumpling. We look at Sugar Dumpling as something that we are managing, that we are nurturing, that we are the stewards of. But this is really a catalyst for everybody to win and to get leveled up. And I feel like there's been so many sort of conversations and feedback that we've been getting that has proven that fact, whether it's yourself or whether it's our art directors or whether it's our DP or our script supervisors or our actors. There's so many people that are just like, man, like, I'm just glad I'm a part of this because this has helped me level up another level. Pardon the pun. But just to close off here, I think the last thought I would love for you to kind of tackle is like, what's the next thing for you? Where do you want to go and take your career, and how can we follow that?
Geez, that's a great question too. He's just been hitting me with some heavy hitters, forcing me to think. Like I just said, I don't think a lot.
Mm-hmm.
To be honest, just continue to dive into this film thing. I have a bunch of feature films coming up this year. I just had a meeting a couple of days ago with a potential film. They literally came into the meeting saying, "We'll see how we feel about him." To yeah, no, we would have done whatever we needed to do to make sure that you're on board with us. Which I do. I'm not an introvert, but I don't like humans. I like to stay inside. I like to stay away from people because it takes a lot of energy to be around humans. But with these people, they're kind of like you, just like-minded, hungry. They want it, and that speaks to character. A lot of times, us in this industry, we're just so focused on what's next. We're willing to tear the next person down
Mm-hmm.
to get where we need to go. And I'm putting we. I've never done that in my personal life, but I've seen it happen a lot of times. And I know you spoke to me about this. There's a lot of times where you walk into a situation and you want to make sure that everyone that's around you has the same mind goal. They want to get to go, understanding that you don't need to tear your next person down to get to where you need to go. There's enough bread for everybody to win and win it up. So yeah, that's the people I want to be around. That's the people I want to work with. That's what's next for me. I'm still releasing music regarding drums because yet again, as I put in my last Instagram post, that's been garnering a lot of drummers and wonderful human beings, all musicians. To be honest, there's a time and place for everything. And as much as Drake has propelled my career from a drumming level, it has helped me tremendously because understanding I can't do the while playing drums. I'm playing drums for Drake because I'm more mindful of the average human doesn't understand 30 seconds, 64 seconds, 16 notes. Just got to keep it straight. Got to do what's best for the tour. Got to do what's best for the music. In my music, it's exactly what I want it to be, which is a bit of drums, a bit of Disney-esque music in there, some strings, some whatever not. You know what I mean? So that's the next venture. I have an EP coming out April 27th. That's the first time I said that. That's my mom's birthday.
They.
To be honest, she probably doesn't even know I have music out. Neither does my dad. Like, it's crazy. They're just like, yeah, you're a cool kid. You don't bother us. Really, that's literally what I have coming up. I'm so excited for my next endeavors in life because it's a challenge. And anytime you're challenged, anytime things are difficult, those are the times to persevere and not really just back away and be like, oh, it's too hard. Let me not do it. We're the type of people where we're going to figure it out by any which means. You know what I mean? So that's what's next for me.
That's super inspiring. I can't wait for everybody to see and see the film, but then also hear. I feel like, man, I feel like this is some of the best work I've ever been a part of, and I'm super grateful that you're a part of it. I'm super grateful that that you were able to find something fresh and new and a different take to add to this phenomenal project. And for those who are looking to hear the soundtrack as well as the single, that will be available on Spotify, and we will tell you when, or all streaming platforms. We will tell you when through our posts and through our social, when you can actually listen to it 1,000 times, 10,000 times, 100,000 times, and support this amazing composer and artist and just creative. Because I think, again, we need more Adrians in the space of film and television. We need more of myself in commercials and in film and television and other areas, because we're underrepresented, and I think our perspectives and our creative intellect is needed in the spaces where we're least showing up. Anyways, thank you so much for being here, Adrian. We really appreciate your time. We appreciate all your contributions to the project. And for those that are watching, thank you for listening to the end. If you want to hear any new things about the project, if you want to know about screenings or up and coming film festivals that we're going to be a part of, or talkbacks or fresh experiences, please go to www.sugardumplingfilm.com. That's www.sugardumplingfilm.com. Or you can check us out on all of our social media platforms. That's at Sugar Dumpling the Film, at Sugar Dumpling the Film on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and all the things. Until the next time, stay blessed, stay focused, stay creative. Peace.